What's up, boss? Welcome back to Life with Franco. And so in today's video, I'm very excited because today we're going to be talking about my most favorite fragrance within my entire collection, a fragrance that was love at first sniff, and a fragrance that I know for a fact is already a fragrance for life for me. It is the fragrance that I'm going to be rocking from today until the end of time. I'm going to buy backup bottle after backup bottle after backup bottle. That is how much I love this fragrance, and I just want to tell you all about it. And so the fragrance that we're going to be speaking about today is going to be none other than Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusif. Alright, and so there's a lot for me to say about this fragrance. I'm going to go over the notes in a little bit, but for now, I just want to go over the personality type, what is the vibe that I'm getting, and if it's something that is right for you, right? And so, why do I love this fragrance so much? Because to me, this is basically hyper masculinity in a bottle, okay? And so, when we think of all the dark things that go into, the dark side of masculinity, basically being aggression, dominance, assertiveness, ambition, sexuality, just a massive amount of lust. That's basically what's going to be Layton Exclusif in a bottle, right? And so, why do I love that so much? Because to me, there's a lot of, especially with the designer, since a lot of fragrances nowadays are becoming very mainstream, very just mass appealing, very likable, all right? A lot of fragrances have, the typical bergamot, some lavender, some cardamom, some aquatic notes, and so we need something that is going to be more on the dark side of things. And so I enjoy a fragrance such as Sauvage Elixir. If you enjoy that fragrance, then do know that something like Layton Exclusif is going to be within that same family, within that same genre. But to me, it's just much more exciting. This has more of a sexual edge to it. It has more rebellion in it, more attitude. And so that's what I love about Layton Exclusif. And so words that I would use to describe Layton Exclusif is that it's basically an outlaw. I think of a guy who is a trained assassin. Maybe he's working for the CIA, or maybe he's a leader of a billion-dollar cartel. This is just a guy who's living life under his own rules. He listens to no one. He asks for no permission. He begs for no forgiveness. He has no respect for the law. He's just living life on his own terms, just no fucks given, basically. That's what's going to be Layton Exclusif. All right, and so I would also say that this is a fragrance for guys who are in their 30s. So whereas Layton, the original Layton, that's going to be more for guys who are in their early 20s. This is going to be great for guys who are in their 30s. But I would say that if you are in your late 20s, let's say 27 years old or older, you can certainly rock this fragrance. I myself am 29 years old, and I feel like I fit this fragrance perfectly. And so for guys who are in their 40s up until their 50s, then this fragrance would be great for them. And so to me, like again, this is just an outlaw, rebellious, all the qualities that us as men we want to express, but in this politically correct world, we can't express all of that, right? And so, again, an outlaw, leader of our cartel. This is actually why I wore this shirt today, because I've been told that I look like a narco wearing this shirt, and so I feel like it would just fit the vibe. And so, definitely you would wear something like this, or just anytime when you're feeling primal, when you're feeling like an animal, this would be great for that, right? Now, occasions that would work great for Layton Exclusif. It's going to be times when you're with a woman, when you're having like this wild, dirty night, whether you're going for the third date and you want to seal the deal, or if you are in a relationship and she's feeling it, you're feeling it, and you guys can go out on a date, but it's going to be more of a wild date, a kinky, dirty, erotic type of date. Maybe you guys are going to do some BDSM. You're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to create a lot of memories with this fragrance, I'll tell you that much. Where else would you wear something like Layton Exclusif? Again, this has a lot of ambition into it. And so for those of you who are ambitious entrepreneurs, let's say you go to a lot of networking events, in that kind of environment, it's important that you show up as an authority figure, you show up as a leader, you want to assert your presence, your authority in that environment. So wearing something like Layton Exclusif that just has all of that darkness to it is definitely going to be commanding a lot of respect. Everybody there is going to be seeing you as a boss, as a leader, as somebody who's to be respected, okay? So basically, if you want to convey the message, you're in my house, we're playing by my rules, I am the fucking man here, you do as I say, sign the contract, right? Basically, you can do that. If you want to say that without saying it verbally, and you want to do it non-verbally, then you can do that with Layton Exclusif, okay? All right, and so let's get into the note breakdown, because there are a lot of differences between Layton Exclusif and the original Layton. There's just so much to be said here. Now, I'm not at all going to even bother trying to memorize all the notes and just tell them here, because there's just so many. There's like 20 different notes. But what's important to know about Layton Exclusif is that this is not at all a linear scent. This is the kind of scent that changes from the opening to the mid, all the way into the deep dry down. Okay, and so let's talk about each and every stage of the scent. So The opening is gonna last you 10 minutes. Okay. Now in the opening, you're gonna get that almond, you're gonna mandarin orange, bergamot, as well as watery notes. And so when I say that Layton Exclusif is this savage, badass motherfucker type of scent, I am not referring to the opening. I say this because if you're gonna go to your local Nordstrom, your local Neiman Marcus, anywhere where they carry niche fragrances, or if you're gonna buy a 5 milliliter decant, like understand that when you first smell it, it's not gonna be that wild erotic fragrance that I am referring to. Okay, and so the opening is gonna be very mass appealing. Again, we got mandarin orange, we got bergamot, watery notes. Like those are all very mass appealing scents. And so if I can tell you what the opening smells like, it reminds me a lot of Acqua di Gio Profondo because they share similar notes when it comes to the opening. And so the opening to Acqua di Gio Profondo is going to have C notes, aqua zone, mandarin orange, bergamot, and yeah, I think that's it. And so they share a lot. They have the mandarin orange, they have the bergamot, and then the C notes is similar to the watery notes. And so if you already smell something Acqua di Gio Profondo, then do know it's going to smell very similar to that. All I would say is that Layton Exclusif is much deeper and dark. And so I would say the Acqua di Gio Profondo, it smells like the surface level of the ocean, very oceanic. Where Layton Exclusif is going to smell more like you're in the deepest parts of the ocean. I'm talking where the sharks and whales are at, just the deepest parts of the ocean. And so it's much deeper, much more masculine. I would say that the opening is very masculine and very clean. Okay, and so much more mass appealing. Okay, and so if you are going to be sniffing this, do not buy it upon first sniff. If you're going to be smelling it in person, do not base your opinion off of that. Give it 10 minutes so that it goes into the mid. All right, now let's get into that mid. And so in the mid, we're going to get civet, I believe it's geranium, rose, gardenia, and water lily. And so there's a lot of florals in there. Forget about the florals, okay? Just put that aside. There's nothing feminine. If you're worried about does it smell feminine, absolutely not. This is like probably the most masculine smelling fragrance within my entire collection, right there with Sauvage Elixir. Like I could not see a woman pulling this off. All right, so forget about the florals. Let's pay attention to the civet. To me, the civet is going to be the single most important note within this entire composition. This is what's going to make it or break it for you. This is what's going to make you either love it or either you're going to hate it because of that civet. And so, in case you don't know, what is civet? Civet is an animalic note. Don't quote me, but I believe it comes from the anal glands of the civet cat. The civet cat is basically an exotic cat that is becoming extinguished. And so, it's very animalic, right? And so, I've seen other fragrance reviewers say that civet makes it come across as pissy, smelling like skunk piss. And so it puts some people off. And so my conclusion to this is that I believe that the people who view it as pissy, these are going to be people who have more of a sensitive nose, which is totally cool. We're all different. But if you are somebody, let's say you already know what kind of nose you have a full fragrance collection, then if you know you have a sensitive nose, then this may be one that you want to stay away from. If the idea of something smelling animalic, something dirty, funky, kind of puts you off, then there's maybe one that you want to stay away from. But if you do have a stronger nose, that's something that can tolerate a lot of heavy notes. Let's say you already own Sauvage Elixir. If you smell it, you can handle that, you can tolerate it, then chances are you can be able to tolerate the civet within Layton Exclusif, all right? Now, some people, like I said, they think it smells pissy. To me, this is the very thing that I love about Layton Exclusif, because to me, this is what makes the fragrance smell, give it that dirty, kinky, erotic, funky kind of a scent to it. And so when you want to be dirty with your woman, you want to have a wild night, then you want a fragrance to have some funk to it. And so it wouldn't make sense to wear something that's politically correct like Bleu de Chanel when you're trying to go for a wild night, or if you're single, you're going to go for a one night stand. That just wouldn't make sense. Like you need to have something that is that has that funky edge to it. Okay, and so just think about it. If a woman's gonna view the man as, oh, he has a dirty mind, he's a dirty boy, it only makes sense that your fragrance smells dirty. Like it wouldn't make it, like I don't see a woman saying, oh, he's a dirty boy, but he smells aquatic, he smells like bergamot. You know, like it just wouldn't make sense. Okay, and so for times when you want to be dirty, wear a dirty fragrance. And so that's where Layton Exclusif comes into play. And so for me, it's the civet that really makes me love Layton Exclusif. I believe that if you remove the civet note, it would not be the same masterpiece that it is. Okay, and so it would just be another fragrance. And so for that reason, it's very important that you sample Layton Exclusif before even buying it. Again, go to your local Nordstrom, your local Neiman Marcus, wherever they carry niche, or get yourself a 5 milliliter decant, because it's either gonna be a love for you or it's gonna be a hate. There's really no in the middle, right? So that's basically the mid. Now let's go into the dry down. So in the dry down, this is where you get a lot of notes. I can't remember, but you have your coffee, you have your oud, you have your gaiac wood, you have your sandalwood, you have your vanilla, patchouli, amber, and a bunch of other stuff. I can't even remember. All right, the ones you want to look out for here are going to be the coffee and the oud. All right, and so the coffee is what's going to give it this really nice, relaxing, calming, soothing, mysterious sensuality to it. It's going to give a lot of warmth as well. And then the oud is going to give it this masculine touch. That's also going to give it a little bit of funkiness to it, okay? When it comes to that oud, me personally, I'm not experienced with oud. I'm brand new into niche. And so I cannot compare it to other ouds, but a lot of people say that oud smells dirty and funky. To me, this is not repulsive at all. That just may be me. Maybe I really like oud, I don't know. But to me, it comes across very clean. It's not too funky to where it's unbearable. Like, I enjoy this fragrance a lot. And so when it comes to the dry down, this is going to be after the 2.5 hour mark. And so again, the open is going to go from the first minute up until the 10 minute. And then the mid, that whole civet mid, is going to go from the 10th minute up until 2.5 hours. And then from 2.5 hours all the way into the end, which on my skin, it lasts 8 hours. So again, from the 2.5 hours all the way into the 8th hour, that's going to be the dry down, which again is going to be the coffee and the oud along with all the other woods. Okay, and so to me, when we look at the entire note breakdown, it seems like it's just the perfect date night fragrance because you get this mass appealing opening. So let's say you spray it on right before you go and hug the woman, when you go and greet the woman. Then she's just gonna think, oh, he smells masculine, he smells clean, he smells put together. And then once you guys hug, you guys have your small talk, then 10 minutes later, you get that strong, provocative, sexual mid coming from the civet that's really gonna turn her on. And then let's say the date lasts 2 hours, well, perfect. That's when the dry down comes, 2.5 hours into it, and now you're gonna get that really nice, mysterious, alluring sensuality coming from the coffee. And so, if you are planning on bringing this girl back home, again, maybe she's your girlfriend or maybe she's just the one night stand, then that coffee is gonna come perfectly in time for when you want to seal the deal. All right, and so I really believe that Layton Exclusif is a perfect date night fragrance for times when you really want to go savage with it. All right. But nevertheless, just keep in mind that this is going to be a great scent for those of you who are entrepreneurs and you really want to serve your dominance, your assertiveness, your authority, your presence. This is going to be a great fragrance for that, all right? And so let's talk about the small details to it. Again, when it comes to ages, I see this being from 27 to 50. I think that if you're 25 years old or you're younger, don't even like bother with the scent. I think at that point, just stick to the original Layton. Yeah, but you have to be at least 27 years old, and you cannot be a shy guy wearing this fragrance. Like, you need to have a lot of authority too. You need to have some attitude. You need to have like this "don't fuck with me" attitude. I think that if you're shy or if you're socially awkward, it just wouldn't make sense to wear this fragrance. All right, something like the original Layton would be much better. All right. Side note, something else that I want to say too is that a lot of people say that Layton Exclusif is like the older brother to the original Layton. I see what they mean by that because Layton smells like a guy who's in his 20s, where Layton Exclusif smells more like a guy who's in his 30s. And so it is an older brother in that sense, but they're very different in personality types because Layton is more of a good guy fragrance, where Layton Exclusif is more of a bad guy fragrance. So it just doesn't make sense. The guy's good when he's in his 20s and then he becomes like this bad dude when he's in his 30s. Usually it's the opposite. Usually he's bad in his early 20s and then he calms down and settles down when he's in his 30s. And so to me, it's very different in their personality types. To me, Layton Exclusif is actually like the older brother to something like M. Mikelev's Desir Toxic. And I would also say that there's another fragrance from the Parfums and Marley lineup that is more along the lines of the older brother to Layton, which I'm going to talk about that in my next video, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, and so going back into the details, let's get into the versatility. How versatile is Layton Exclusif? Basically, you can wear this daytime, nighttime in both fall and winter because of how deep and dark intense it is. it's going to work much better in the colder weather. Now when it comes to spring and summer, this is going to be more of a nighttime wear. But to be honest, I think that most men who wear Layton Exclusif are not going to want to wear this in spring and summer. But me, again, this is my favorite fragrance in my entire collection, so I'm definitely going to be rocking this year round. I don't care if it fits the weather, if it fits the occasion, I don't care. I'm going to be rocking this as much as I can. Alright, but nevertheless, it's more colder weather leaning. Alright, for those of you who are living in hot countries, you're in Latin America, you're in Hawaii, you're in the Philippines, probably want to stay away from this fragrance. Alright, occasions, again, anytime you're going for a wild date, a wild night, if you're going for a one-night stand, if you are an ambitious entrepreneur and you're looking to network other men, you want to be respected by other men, those are going to be the occasions you want to look out for. What else would I say about this fragrance? Now, going back to the whole exclusive thing, I forgot to mention this, that if you are looking to get Layton and you're thinking that Layton Exclusif, because it's exclusive, is it just a better version of Layton? Is it just a more luxurious smelling version of Layton, just higher quality, same profile? No, very different scent profile. To me, Layton Exclusif should just be a different name, like another Carlisle, another Hobdon, another one of those crazy type of fragrances. This is not reminiscent of Layton. All right, and so I think that's about it. Oh yeah, last thing I want to touch upon is price. And so, is it worth? I think retail is going for $430. If you are a rich mofo and you really don't care about spending money, then hey, you're gonna do what you do. But I will say you are gonna get a very nice fragrance, all right? But I think for the majority of the population, $430 is still gonna be a lot of money. And as amazing as this fragrance is, I wouldn't recommend it at that price, just because I wouldn't, like, is any fragrance worth the $430, right? As amazing as it is. Now, I personally got this fragrance for $225. That's what I paid plus taxes. I got it through Joma Shop. Joma Shop, they do a Parfums of Marley sale twice a year, I believe. I think it was for Valentine's Day, and I think they do it again for Black Friday. And so at that $225 price tag, absolutely it is worth it. Like, at that point, it's a blind buy. For me, it was a blind buy. And I don't regret it. For as long as you like fragrances that are strong and masculine like Sauvage Elixir, then you can blind buy it at that point at $225. Chances are you're gonna like it. If not, you can always just resell it, sell it for more expensive, like $300 in all seriousness. All right, and so $225 definitely it's worth it, but $430 that's a little much, all right? Last thing I really want to touch upon is the longevity. And so I believe when this fragrance came out, it was more on the beast mode side. It lasted 12 hours. For me, this fragrance lasts a good 8 hours, and so I think they probably have done a reformulation to it. And so no, it does not last 12 hours, at least not on my skin. Maybe your skin's gonna do better, but I just get in 8 hours. All I can speak about is my own personal experience, and so it's 8 hours. Projection, you are looking at 3 feet. Definitely the person that you're talking to can smell it, but it's not gonna be like a room filler. All right, so just know that. But if you're talking one-on-one with somebody, they're definitely gonna smell it, right? All right, and so I believe that's about it. Again, this is my most favorite fragrance. Definitely sample it. I think that every man should sample it. I'm not saying you should own it. I'm not saying you should buy it, but I think that this is a fun fragrance that most men should sample just to give himself that nice experience, all right? And so hopefully you found that video to be helpful. I know it's super long, but this is an expensive fragrance, and so it's very important for me to inform you before you make your buying decisions, all right? And so, as always, please subscribe, share, like, and comment. All that helps out with the video, all that helps out with the algorithm, pushing this video to as many men as we can. And so I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. You have yourself an amazing day. Take care, and all the best to you. Deuces.